Welcome to the series on Michael Faraday. We're going to be using the quantum mechanics and the MRI machine from Dr. Stephen Odiabo, and also some notes from my own chemistry journey from Mr. Waziri at Federal Government College, Lagos, Ijaniki. Enjoy the series. There's about 5 episodes in the series, and they'll be dropping every day over the next few days. Have a blessed day. Hello, today I'm going to be talking about 2 key items. The first one is a book by Dr. Stephen Odiabo, and the other one is a book called Faraday, Maxwell, and the Electromagnetic Field. So we're going to talk about these 2 books today. But more importantly, we're actually going to talk about a person that Dr. Stephen talks a lot about in his book. And I think that you would be encouraged to learn about this person. I would argue that in the history of mathematics, in the history of science, if you take all factors and analyze different backgrounds people had and everything like that, and look at, again, it's kind of like in golf where they have handicaps, right? If you look at all the challenges that people had, and then you want to rank who was the greatest scientist, especially experimental physics, I think Michael Faraday is the best when it comes to experimental physics. Now we could get into a debate. I think that'll be good. That'll be fun. Let's have a debate in the comment section. I'm kidding, but well, actually, I'm not. Who do you think is one of the best, right? Well, I think Faraday is one of the best. And in Dr. Odiabo's book, he gives us a quote at the beginning of each of his chapters, and he talks about Faraday. So let's read some of those quotes. Before we read the quotes, can I just say one thing about Michael Faraday? It is very sad that students are graduating from schools in America and around the world, and they cannot articulate the history of Maxwell or Faraday or William Wilberforce. I'm just giving a few examples of names. We need our students to know the people behind some of the ideas that they're learning in school. And Michael Faraday, so my favorite mathematician is Euler. I talked about that in the other video you guys have seen. Potentially it's on my LinkedIn and also on YouTube. But my favorite scientist is actually hard. It's hard to split them. It's Maxwell and Faraday. I struggle with that decision sometimes of who's my favorite. I know these are the weird things I think about sometimes. But actually the honest truth is, the truth is that it's Maxwell and Faraday for me. It's both of them. Especially Faraday, though. Imagine that he was so poor as a child. He had to basically, eat a loaf of bread over 7 days. He was so poor, he did not get an education equivalent to what we would call high school or college, but he was diligent and determined. So when he went to the Royal Institution and he listened to Sir Humphrey Davy and he took notes and he was able to show Sir Humphrey Davy, these are the notes I've been taking in your free lectures. Give me a chance, essentially. I'm paraphrasing everything here, quick. But Michael Faraday got an opportunity to work at the Royal Institution. He did his job with excellence, but then he went above and beyond. The work that he did at the Royal Institution, some of what he did then is what we are benefiting from today. But then later in his life, now remember, he didn't have a high school or college education, but later in his life, he met Maxwell. Maxwell's equations, Maxwell's work in mathematics, some of that is tied back to Faraday's work. Now, Faraday's work is tied back to people like Ostad and Volta and Ampere, but Faraday's experimental physics laid the groundwork that we then get with some of Maxwell's work. This is the other book that we need to read. Faraday, Maxwell, and the Electromagnetic Field. But this video it's mostly about Dr. Odiabo's work and quantum mechanics and the MRI machine. So let's read a few quotes about Faraday. Maybe we'll do this over the next few days. Why don't we talk about some of the quotes from Michael Faraday's life? So today is Friday, August 14th. We'll have this video, but then maybe on Saturday we'll drop one quick video on a quote, and then we'll continue on, except Sunday. I want people to rest, so I won't disturb you with uploading a new video on Sunday. But here's the introduction. Electricity is often wonderful, beautiful, but it is so only in common with the other forces of nature. The beauty of electricity or of any other force is not that the power is mysterious and unexpected, touching every sense at unawares in turn, but that it is under law, and that the thought intellect can even govern it largely. So I'll read that part again. And unexpected, touching every sense at unawares in turn, but that it is under law, and that the thought intellect can even govern it largely. The human mind is placed above and not beneath it, and it is in such a point of view that the mental education afforded by science is rendered supereminent in dignity, in practical application and utility. For by enabling the mind to apply the natural power through law, it conveys the gifts of God to man. For by enabling the mind to apply the natural power through law, it conveys the gifts of God to man. Michael Faraday. Lecture notes from 1858. Friday Discourse at the Royal Institution. From the Life and Letters of Faraday. Well, I know the next book I'm going to order. The Life and Letters of Michael Faraday. The MRI machine is one that I had to study before getting my master's degree in medical physics. And I remember learning about the MRI, and it was not funny. By the way, if you have children that don't know what to do with their lives, tell them to think about studying medical physics. Tell them to study physics. Tell them to study math, right? But medical physics, though, you get to see the applications of physics in medicine. And so Michael Faraday's work laid the groundwork. Now, there are some students in school that say things like, when am I ever going to use that? What they don't realize is that sometimes it's not about when am I ever going to use that. It's about the fact that the thing you're learning is true. If it is true, right? If it is true or if it has some validity, the art of just learning for its own sake, it matters more than just saying, I'm going to learn it because it has application. When Faraday was doing his work in the 1800s, by the way, on Christmas Day of 1831, he was working in the lab. How crazy is that? There's a YouTube video about his life. You could go to the Royal Institution and look up Michael Faraday, the story of Michael Faraday, something like that. And you guys can see the type of person Faraday was. Very fascinating. One of the reasons I love Faraday, though, is his humility. He was also a man of faith. I love Michael Faraday. I love his humility. When he died, he didn't want to be buried at the Westminster Abbey. He easily could have been voted to be buried there. No, he just wanted a quiet, they wanted a quiet event somewhere else, right? I've been to the Royal Institution. It was late on a Saturday. They were closed, though, so I had to peek through the window. I got to come back. So Royal Institution, if you're watching, I'd love to come back and visit. And it would be so fun to do a class one day with students, right? Bring some students from America to the Royal Institution. That would be so fun. Anyway, sorry, that's my plug. Okay, so that's the first quote from Michael Faraday. Let me end with this, and then you guys will see the next videos over the next few days. Faraday believed that God created the world. He believed that. And because he believed that God created the world, right, and human beings were unique, Faraday's view of human intelligence is quite different. That question is going to be very critical. Why are humans different, right? That's a very interesting question that we can discuss in philosophy and life and so on and so forth. I believe, like Faraday, that God made the world and that humans were made for a purpose. And that's one of the first quotes we're starting with. Of course, this book is very heavy in MRI. It's very heavy with quantum mechanics. But I just wanted to talk about Michael Faraday, the man who inspires me till today. So Euler is my math guy. Faraday and Maxwell are my science favorite people. I look forward to seeing you in the video tomorrow. Take care. And you could go to our YouTube channel to follow the series as well. But today's focus is on Michael Faraday and his early life and the quote that he used to kind of set the stage. Dr. Odiabo set the stage. I will go back and do an actual physics discussion about MRI. We'll get there later. If you have students who want to learn that, they could check out the book. And I'll put the link to the book in the description section and also in the comment section. Thank you, Dr. Odiabo, for writing the book. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the video tomorrow. Have a blessed day.